Who am I? Not like who do I feel like I am right now, but really fundamentally, who am I? If you ask yourself this, at first you'd think you'd know exactly what you're asking for. But as soon as you start looking deeply for an answer, you're going to realize you can't find an answer in isolation. To understand who I am, I have to understand everything else I experience. The I only makes sense as a pattern amongst the relationships between things. Everything else is the structure that holds it together. So when I look, what do I find? I find that everything around me has form. Objects persist, patterns emerge, colors shift, sounds echo, but each of these things, particles, energy, space, light, matter, even my consciousness, only appears as it does because of the relationships it has with everything else. The way a wall holds together, the way a tree grows, the way a thought pops into awareness, it's all part of a pattern larger than any single part. Trying to trace everything I find back to its origin brings me to the beginning of the universe itself. The Big Bang isn't a single event inside an already existing universe. It is a statement about the structure of what relations are possible between space, energy, and geometry, or what can exist at all. At the other end of the universe, it's not some scene waiting in the future. It's another boundary of possibility, a description of limits. It's how the system behaves when pushed to those other extremes. What we call time isn't pushing reality forward. It's part of the bookkeeping of what is allowed. Bringing that back to everyday scales, it seems easy to forget all of this. From our perspective, things seem to unfold step by step. Objects persist, they move, they resist change. You push something, it pushes back. You let go of a glass, it falls, it breaks. Physics works. Mass, inertia, the speed of light all feel like intrinsic properties, but they're really reflections of relational structure. Mass comes from how tightly a system is bound to itself. Light moves at a fixed speed because influence can propagate only so fast through this local network of relations. What we experience as solid, heavy, or luminous is just how local resolutions show up in the context of global constraints. Diving down into much smaller scales, we observe that particles don't have precise locations or paths. They spread out, interfere, and exist as possibilities. The way they resolve depends on the local information available. Measurement doesn't add anything new, it selects a local outcome consistent with the global structure. Entanglement shows this clearly. Two systems interact, separate, and later measurements reveal correlations that reflect the relationship established earlier. Nothing travels between them faster than light. The relationship was never purely local. Separation is something we impose when we slice up the system. Using our best instruments, we also observe dark matter and dark energy, which in this model reflect the same underlying issue. Dark matter appears as the influence of partially unresolved structure, showing up as matter responding to constraints not fully expressed locally. Dark energy appears as large-scale expansion where local resolution is weak, showing up most clearly in regions with little structure. Black holes are also observable yet extreme cases. Here, local resolution collapses under saturated constraints, leaving only certain global properties meaningfully accessible from the outside. And as discussed in the previous video, relativity and wave-particle duality are local ways these global constraints express themselves as limits on motion, influence, and what can consistently appear. So everything we observe, from particles to black holes to cosmic expansion, is a local expression of how global constraints are realized where local information is incomplete. Mass, light, energy, gravity, dark matter, dark energy, and even consciousness. All of it is how local resolutions emerge within the global structure. Different phenomena appear differently depending on how complete the local information is. To trace that all back to the initial question about my essential nature, I am one of those local resolutions. What I experience as me right now, sights, sounds, thoughts, emotions, isn't a direct reading of reality. It's a structured resolution shaped by my nervous system. My brain doesn't just receive the world, it organizes it. Raw electromagnetic signals become color, pressure waves become music, neural activity becomes meaning. This is how a stable sense of me emerges here and now. When those constraints change, like in dreams, psychedelic states, or hallucinations more generally, the resolution changes too. Geometry can become fluid, patterns fold into fractals, your identity loosens. These experiences aren't empty or illusory. They're other, less constrained ways the same system can resolve experience. So when I ask, "Who am I?" and follow the question through to its answer, I see the same structure at every scale. Everything I experience, everything I interact with, every particle, every field, every gap in structure, all of it forms the network of relations that makes me a local resolution. And when I follow that as far as I can, I find that I am a system resolving itself locally within global constraints. I am the way the global structure becomes explicit here and now. This is not just who I am, but also what I am, where I am, when I am, why I am, and how I am, all at the same time.